my name is Julia Boyle, and I'm the Executive Director with AutismBC. I'm excited to announce that our Parent and Caregivers Perspectives on the Family Connection Centers report is ready to be launched on our website for everyone to view.
Hi, I'm Kay Banyas, Board President of AutismBC. As many of you know, last year, the Ministry of Children and Family Development announced changes to the Children and Youth with Support Needs Framework, or CYSN framework. Existing programs like individualized autism funding are being phased out and replaced by family connection centers by 2025. We've heard many strong responses from families, and as a community organization with thousands of members, we felt a responsibility to ensure that the voices of our community are heard.
Last spring, we launched a survey to research how parents and caregivers think the Family Connection Centers will impact their autistic children. We'd like to thank the 1,563 parents that filled out our survey. After months of data analysis and writing, we are finally ready to launch our report. We are proud of this report, and we hope that it serves the community well.
Here are a few of the key findings from our report. Only 4% of the parents chose the Family Connection Centers as the service delivery model that best meets their needs. Overwhelmingly, parents believe that the benefits of individualized funding significantly outweigh the anticipated benefits of the Family Connection Centers. 96% of the participants want to continue with individualized autism funding or a hybrid or both models. 85% of parents said that an autism diagnosis is necessary for their children's development and growth, meaning that the needs-based assessment at the FCCs would be inadequate. And 65% of parents said that they had not had the opportunity for meaningful consultation on the changes to the service model.
Of the 1,500 parents and caregivers that completed our survey, 7% were parents and caregivers of Indigenous children. Thank you to the Indigenous families that filled out our survey and those that gave us feedback on our survey and our report. There were a few key differences in the responses made by Indigenous families. 16% were adoptive parents compared to 3% of non-Indigenous families. One potential reason for this is the systematic apprehension and placement of Indigenous children in the child welfare system. Additionally, a more significant proportion of Indigenous children had to wait more than 2 years to obtain an autism diagnosis. This is consistent with well-documented health inequities experienced by Indigenous people across Canada. As Kay just mentioned, only 4% of parents chose the Family Connection Centers as their preferred service model, while for our Indigenous families, this dropped to 2%. Indigenous families also expressed a higher need for culturally safe and trauma-informed services.
We have 7 recommendations in our parent and caregiver perspectives on the Family Connection Centers report. Concerning consultation and services for Indigenous people, we urge the BC government to meet the basic standards set out in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's calls to action.
We urge the BC government to commit to working collaboratively with all neurodivergent and disability community stakeholders to co-develop and co-create an improved service framework.
We urge the BC government to maintain all existing supports and services, such as individualized funding, until a formal policy review can be conducted to get the best support in place for all neurodivergent and disabled children.
We urge the BC government to plan and execute services across all relevant ministries and explore wraparound services to support neurodivergent and disabled people across their lifespans.
We urge the BC government to eliminate the 1.5-year waitlist for children's autism assessments by investing in the professionals that provide these specialized assessments.
We urge the BC government to invest in the training and recruitment of service providers for children and youth with disabilities and their families, to eliminate the 1 to 2 year waitlists for speech-language pathologists, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, and behavior analysts.
And finally, We urge the BC government to integrate wraparound mental health and flexible respite services into all CYSN programs as part of their core service approach and delivery.
As you can see, there's a lot of work to do to support kids with support needs. Later this month, we will be hosting a Zoom talk where I'll be summarizing this report. We'll let you know when that's happening.
We will be taking this report and recommendations to the BC government, but we also call on each of you to do the same. Please share this report with your network and consider your next advocacy steps. We hope that this report empowers you to take these findings forward. Let's all stand in solidarity with autistic children, neurodivergent children, and children with disabilities.
This report provides insight into what families want on their terms for their children on the autism spectrum. If you have any questions or comments on this report, please reach out to me personally. My contact information is below.